This video, we're going to talk about 1.1 Objective 2, where we determine whether statements about statistical studies, polls, and surveys make sense. Let's take a look at question 1. Decide whether the statement below makes sense, or is clearly true, or does not make sense, or is clearly false, and explain. In my statistical study, I used a sample that was larger than the population. No, the statement does not make sense. A sample is a subset of the population and cannot be larger than the population. So that's answer A here. Again, decide whether the statement below makes sense or is clearly true or does not make sense or is clearly false, and explain your choice clearly. A poll conducted 2 months before a presidential election predicted that the Republican candidate would win with 55% of the vote. The survey had a margin of error of 3 percentage points. The Republican candidate lost the election. So the statement makes sense because there's always a possibility that a population parameter is not contained in the confidence interval determined by a sample statistic and a margin of error. Also, voters may change their mind by election time. So this is option C. Again, decide whether the statement below makes sense or does not make sense and explain your choice. The pollster plans to improve survey results by only conducting polls in which the margin of error is 0. The statement does not make sense because a margin of error of 0 implies that there is no uncertainty in a survey result. This could happen only if the entire population was surveyed rather than just a sample. That would be called a census, not a sample. So we would not be able to take a census or not be able to take a sample and estimate what's going on with the population with a 0% margin of error. All right. Again, decide whether the statement below makes sense or does not make sense and explain your choice. One study of heart disease involved treating male physicians with daily doses of aspirin because the study concluded that aspirin helps males avoid heart disease. It follows that females can also avoid heart disease by taking aspirin. No, that statement does not make sense. Inferences about one population do not necessarily apply to different populations. So that's C. Just because, since the study was only representative of male patients, then it can't speak to the benefits or risks to female patients. Okay, let's go ahead and end this video here, and we'll come back next time and talk about 1.1 Objective 3. See you for the next video.